All right, we have returned from the snap. Uh, Thanos snapped us away. We have been revived. Thank God for the Incredible Hulk. We're back online, folks. We had some technical problems, but we figured we'd come back on with the three of us just to get some predictions. We talked really in detail on the last stream about our thoughts on Fantastic Four First Steps. So if you want to see us talk almost like scene by scene, character by character through that movie in great detail, we have like nearly 2 hours of that, about an hour and a half of that. We just finished streaming, so check that out if you want to. But this stream is going to be dedicated entirely to us doing predictions based off of this movie. Where do we see them going in Doomsday and Secret Wars, maybe in Fantastic Four 2? Do you see anything here leading you to Spider-Man? We'll kind of just go through a little bit of our thoughts ahead on the MCU, what this makes us feel in regards to the multiverse saga, Doom's future, all that kind of stuff. Ari's back again. Nolan's back again. Now, we'll start with you, Ari. Now, we just had finished talking about the post-credit scene, and we were theorizing about Doom's role in the next movie. So, do you have any hot theories or predictions you want to lay out there for us to talk about as
I
we
think
open
a
it up?
good place to start with is your theory that you brought up to me yesterday. I'd like to talk about that. So if you'd share that with the class.
Yeah, I mentioned that towards the end of the last stream. We didn't really get to talk about it at much, but my theory at this point is that Doom is going to have his scar cured by Franklin. We saw Franklin in this movie cure his mom of death, so I think he could very much cure Doom of his scar, and I could see it being a similar thing to saving his mom, where it was almost instinctual. Like he just saw Doom was in pain, he saw that he was hurt, so he reached up and he fixed him. He has that healing nature in him. I could see that being something that he did. Maybe even Doom doesn't even ask him for it. He just did it. I could see. I would wonder how that would affect Doom's outlook. But yeah, that's my theory. Is that we are going to see Doom scarred for maybe the first few minutes of Doomsday, but then by the time they connect us to this timeline, we're going to see him not scarred because of Franklin's actions.
And then probably like when he gets defeated or whatever, then he gets the scar again.
Yeah, I could see something like Franklin ends up, reverting his change or whatever. I could even see Franklin
once he
being the one to
realizes
take down Doom.
how messed up of an individual he is.
And Nolan, you know a lot more about Franklin and his powers in the comics, his roles in these storylines. So do you have any like Franklin related predictions, and how do you feel about my theory? I know we talked about that a little bit in the episode, but how are you feeling about Franklin?
That your theory is pretty much what the conclusion I came to, or at least that is why he has his mask off. I don't know that we'll actually end up seeing. I don't know that Franklin will actually end up curing Doom in the end, but I think that is why he has his mask off. The only alternative theory there would be that maybe he is trying not to scare Franklin, but if his face is scarred, it depends how scarred, but that might just maybe he's trying to scare Franklin. Maybe he's just an asshole and he's going like
How much of Franklin do you think we see? Like, he has a prominent role in Secret Wars as a comic, but like, is he going to be a baby throughout this entire storyline? Are they going to age him up to be played by like a teenager or a young adult or something like that? What do you think about his role? Is he going to be in the movie a lot? Is he going to be a baby? What do you think?
So it's hard to say in that there's a lot they could do. In the comics, he's probably 8 to 10, maybe a little give or take. And but we've seen him. Franklin is so powerful that he lives thousands of years into the future. He's the only person he outlasts every other member of the Four. Ben also lasts very long, but so we could end up seeing multiple Franklins, maybe a Franklin from the future coming back to help with whatever. I think Franklin's definitely going to play a prevalent role in the next two movies. I could see it where maybe I think Doom is actually there for Franklin and something multiverse related. And I think the mask thing is just him there anyway, and he's like, well, might as well try. Um, I could see them aging up Franklin a little bit. Maybe, I don't know.
We have lost a member of the Fantastic Four. We are down to the tally.
Oh,
Uh,
uh,
four. Now there were two. Ari, unfortunately,
okay.
we're having a rough night here.
All right. Yeah, and this is not okay. This is not great.
No,
Okay. Oh,
I'm
oh,
curious about Franklin's future because I honestly don't even know anything about Franklin. Like, I know of him in Secret Wars because I read Secret Wars, but I don't know a ton about like the future of Franklin and who he grows into. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Franklin. And I was kind of shocked they had him so primarily in this movie that Sue like gives birth and he has a role in the final scenes. It was cool to see them move that character so forward. But yeah, I'm really excited because I just don't know a lot about this character.
Yeah,
he's definitely gonna have a big role in these upcoming Avengers films.
Mhm.
There's no way you set him up like this if he's
Yeah.
not going to.
Honestly, in this recommendation for you too, but also anybody who's watching, just read Jonathan Hickman's run on Fantastic Four. That leads into his Avengers run, which leads into Secret Wars.
Well, I
So
got to
there's a
read
lot
the
of
entire
useful.
Ultimate Universe.
Oh, not the
Yeah,
entire,
good
but
luck
a
with
lot
that.
of it. I mean, there's some really bad stuff in the Ultimate Universe. There's some really great stuff as well, but there's some really bad stuff. But yeah, Franklin is a crazy character. I mean, there's one point in his room, he creates like a pocket universe where he learns how to create stuff.
A
It's
pocket
wild.
universe? Say that again?
Yeah, a pocket universe. Isn't it
That's
fantastic?
why you don't create a damn pocket universe.
Um, so yeah, I think Franklin's gonna play a prevalent part overall, but I think his role is gonna become most prevalent after Secret Wars. I would love if the next Fantastic Four movie was something almost completely different, and it was about the Four and Franklin going on a whole multiversal journey to recreate the multiverse. That would be a fun movie. I mean, you could do some crazy shit there. Um, but I mean, I didn't think about it till now. Do you think there's a chance that they could somehow retroactively, since there was a 4-year time jump, what if uh Valeria was born in that time period and they just say she's with her dad or something?
Because there's a lot of talk in this movie about like, oh, is it going to be twins? Is it going to be a boy or a girl? They're definitely teasing the fact that like there's and maybe be another kid someday. But at the same time, I also could see them kind of like compositing it all into Franklin.
So
But
who is Valeria?
Valeria's Reed and Sue's daughter.
Oh,
She is a crazy character in and of herself. She is ridiculously smart, like on the level of Reed, except for she is that at like 5. And she talks like she's an adult. It's wild.
is
But
she in Secret Wars?
yeah, she doesn't play a necessarily huge role there, but she is there.
and part of me feels like they're kind of merging that into Franklin because Franklin is reading like Charles Darwin and stuff like that to make a point the fact that he's like super smart. And I could also see them since it is a multiverse doing rather than another kid, maybe it's like an alternate universe kid. In some other universe, they had a daughter who is different than Franklin, and we could see her at some point.
Yeah, well, also with Valeria, and if they did that, I don't think they will, but if they did, I think I don't remember if it's in birth or just kind of around it. I think something happens where Sue's about to give birth, she's gonna die, and Victor ends up saving her. And then in doing so, maybe he got to name Valeria, and Doom hates Reed and like is very much at odds, but Valeria calls him Uncle Doom. Like he loves and respects Valeria. No matter what, Doom could be doing the craziest evil shit of all time, but Valeria could go to him with any need she needs. Like they have a very close relationship, and I kind of would prefer them to have just Valeria exist and do that.
Mhm.
She would be a hard character to do in live action because how do you cast that young an actress and pull that off without it not coming off as really stupid?
How, how do you guys think that something like Doctor Doom will resonate with audiences more with what's maybe going on in the Middle East to a country?
I'm not sure. I mean, Superman clearly leaned heavily into like social commentary, and I don't know if
Yeah.
Marvel has that in them. And especially this movie seems like it's intentionally like avoiding anything that might be construed as any level of commentary on anything. And we talked about how Ben Grimm's faith is something that is almost explored and then not really. And I wonder if they'll just almost like try to avoid any level of real world implication into Doom.
That was so weird
I
to me personally because it's not explored at all in the movie, and then towards the end, he goes into a synagogue. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I didn't think they were going here. It feels like, and that comes out of nowhere, but it feels like there were missing scenes.
I don't know if they would go. I don't think they're gonna go into that in Doomsday or Secret Wars.
But
That
they
I
have
don't
to at
think.
least mention, like his backstory and what happened with that country.
Like I said, I mean, they could do that, but I don't think if there were to be commentary like that, I would be very shocked if it was in Doomsday or Secret Wars. The MCU will do blatant political commentary. I think Daredevil Born Again is a pretty obvious comparison there. To the point where it's jarring, where you go from like Brave New World, which is try so hard to be politically neutral for some reason, and then you go to Born Again, which is so firmly you know where they stand.
Yeah, a movie
Uh,
that's about a president who turns into a red monster and destroys Washington is pretty neutral.
yeah, so I don't think the MCU is gonna overall shy away from that, but I could see them reserving the hardcore commentary or hardcore, maybe that's not the right way to word it, but uh maybe saving that for stuff like TV or maybe even just R-rated stuff where you don't have like kids won't be watching it.
Because
Not
am
that
I
you
wrong?
can't for kids, but
Am I wrong, or does his origin with Latveria does it involve a genocide?
I don't remember. I think so, but I don't remember. Something happens with Latveria that
Oh yeah,
leads
all I
to
remember is
something
something
tragic.
bad happens to the people of Latveria.
Yeah, I think something bad happens to his mother. I
Oh,
think maybe it was. I don't remember. I think maybe his dad was Latvian and maybe higher up, and his mom wasn't, and something happened with the treatment of his mother. There is obviously there is absolutely room that if they wanted to, they could absolutely do political commentary. I just think they won't in
what if they
Doomsday or
do a
Secret Wars
twist?
because they I don't think this should necessarily be a reason for them not to, but if you're thinking realistically, they can't afford to have people be like that controversy that would probably come with it. So I don't think they would do that for this movie.
What if they did
But
something crazy like having Doom and Reed be brothers?
that would be something,
Has that
especially
ever been done
given
before?
I don't. I mean, maybe there's a lot of comics. I'm sure it
And I
probably
gotta read
maybe.
all of them. I gotta
Part
read
of
all
me-
of them before Doomsday.
Part of me thought with that black hole time dilation that it really heavily implied upon, and then especially like the Silver Surfer reaches out and touches Franklin before she goes into the black hole, and I thought for sure on some level she like pulled him through the black hole or something, and then Downey Jr. was gonna be Franklin, like an adult version of Franklin from the future, essentially. And I still
Oh.
kind of wonder if they might do that, but
Oh,
that was what I was thinking for sure when they were emphasizing that time dilation. Really, really made a point of the fact that Silver Surfer like touches Franklin before she gets sucked out.
honestly, if they decide to go the route where Franklin is older, like a future version, I've seen some people fan cast Austin Butler. I don't really like him as an actor, but it would be whatever. But honestly, if they wanted to get Ryan Gosling, that would be a pretty good role. I mean, well, it wouldn't fully work because he's not mixed, but then again, nor is Austin Butler, I don't think.
And there's even a scene in
But
here where like Reed is sitting with young Franklin, and he has like this technology he was using to see what the baby's gonna look like before it was born, and like he's like considering putting Franklin in to see what he's gonna look like as an adult, but he decides not to, and that feels like such an intentional tease to show us like at some point we may age up this character and like have some we tease like what he might look like in the future without
Yeah, like
teasing it.
what? So, are you saying that you think this Doctor Doom is not Victor and instead is literally Franklin?
That's how I'm feeling at the moment. I don't know if they'll change my mind in the next couple of movies, but I could see that being an explanation for
'cause-
like why this Doom is
Well-
not quite the Doom we
Well, yeah,
know, or
because like a
something
lot
like
of people
that.
are expecting it to be like Tony Stark as Doctor Doom, but yeah, that'd be an interesting twist. Literally, Franklin having such a major role in these movies would make that really interesting.
I'm very curious how they talk through that fact that he looks like Tony Stark. Is that something that's just a coincidence, or like what
There's
are they
no
going to do
way
with that?
they're not going to do something with it. There was even a rumor last week that like, okay, well, I don't want to. If rumors turn out to be spoilers, I don't want them. But
I
basically,
think
like,
it's
I think that they will make that a big part of it.
I
Yeah,
think it's
I think-
possible that when Franklin touches his face, he changes it to look like Tony Stark for some reason. Like maybe he doesn't look like that at all, but when Franklin touches his
Oh.
face, he makes him look like someone
That
that he
would-
knows in some way.
That would be so funny. Imagine at the beginning of the movie, they like cast someone insane. They just have John Malkovich be Doctor Doom, and then Franklin is like, "No, dude," and just touches his face, and he looks like Robert.
Malkovich as Doom actually would have been incredible.
No, it would have been fantastic.
Say that again.
Say it again.
Also, I just realized this. Ari, your head is perfectly on Johnny's body.
You
Uh-oh.
look like a Funko Pop.
This is not good. This is not good. Let me think. Anything else like predictions?
Do you guys see anything in here factoring into Spider-Man? I know the Spider-Man movies are somewhat separate most of the time plot-wise because they are Sony films that aren't going to necessarily
Yeah.
bring like all the Fantastic Four in there or something. But do you think we'll see Doom show up? Do you think we'll see anything along the lines of that? in
I'd like to
Spider-Man?
see at least like Johnny being maybe Spider-Man. I don't expect any of them in Spider-Man 4 maybe, but like Spider-Man 5, I would really like if Tom Holland is done after this next trilogy, I would like to see them build the relationship with him in the Fantastic Four before he's done.
I completely forgot what I was gonna say. I had my thought and then it just completely left my head.
I'm very curious about
I
Spider-Man.
don't think it makes sense for
Oh
yeah.
yeah, now I remember. I could see. So presumably, Tom Holland is not in Doomsday much. I think he'll probably be way bigger in Secret Wars because he'll actually have time, presumably, to film for that movie. So maybe Benedict Cumberbatch just said he's not in Doomsday. They didn't announce him for Doomsday. So we don't know, but maybe they after Doctor Strange and Clea go off to stop incursions, they're like, you know what? Let's call the Spider-Man in. And then the credit scene, or they show up and they're like, Spider-Man. Or even if they want to do a multiverse movie, have Toby and Andrew there as well with Doctor Strange being like, dude, there's some crazy shit going on in the multiverse right now. We gotta go kill Tony Stark, but not Tony Stark. And then, I mean, I could see that. I don't. Brand New Day seems like a crazy movie because we had a Captain America movie that was a Hulk movie and a Spider-Man movie with the Hulk in it and Punisher for suddenly. What is happening right now? But I think we'll have credit scenes that will for sure lead into it because you have to. It's the last movie before that. I with Doomsday, it's such a weird movie because I truly have no clue where the hell they go because with the Fantastic Four element and Doom and even the collapse of the multiverse, I could see where that will all go. But then where does the Avengers, like Sam Wilson putting together his Avengers team and the new Avengers fit in there? Because even though they had the major setup for Doomsday, it feels so disconnected where I can imagine how these this Fantastic Four movie ties into that, but it's hard for me to imagine like, what is gonna be the scenario. It's interesting. I thought we were gonna know what's going on with the fan or Excelsior, I think it's called, uh, in Thunderbolts, but I'm almost more confused
Yeah, I
than I
was
was.
shocked we didn't get that answer because that was what they left us hanging on in Thunderbolts going into this, and I thought certainly that was how they're going to end this movie. Is someone's going to get in that thing and go off. I don't think it's going to be all four of them. Like someone will be in that thing heading off, and I'm shocked they didn't answer that.
I think it's the main reason why I think Thunderbolts should have come out first or after this because number one, you mentioned a private conversation that it probably would have helped sales for Thunderbolts, but also if this movie was the same exact thing and you ended on a Doom cliffhanger, you're like, oh shit, and then if you cut to Thunderbolts and have that scene, it I feel like it just flows better and adds to the "oh shit"
Yeah.
Finally
element of
crossing
it.
over type of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because right
for
now
my
I'm kind of just confused.
for my MCU watch, I'm probably gonna watch that way. I'm probably gonna watch this and then Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I think probably going forward, that's how I'll do it. Um,
Are you guys planning a giant MCU watch before Doomsday? Because
Yeah,
after this, I'm going to be pulling out my calendar and figuring out what I'm doing.
I'm gonna be doing it, and I'm gonna watch the Netflix shows too.
we should we'll have to do this privately, but in our chat, we should all come together and try to find a definitive watch through for all of us.
Yeah, it would be really fun and do like a road to Doomsday situation. You know, I definitely want to rewatch these things and see how it all builds up together.
I would love to do reviews on certain movies or shows we missed. Did we ever? I don't know if this channel ever did a Loki season 2 review, but Thunderbolts. I I don't think there was a review for Thunderbolts on this channel, and there really should be.
All right, do you guys have any last predictions? We've been on here for about 25 minutes. Figure we just fill in maybe half an hour, fill in that last half hour for the 3 hours.
How do you think? What do you think about like who do you think they're gonna give the Thanos role in Secret Wars if it's not Thanos?
The Thanos role in Secret Wars, you mean as like the main antagonist?
No, as I think
No,
as
like how
the
in Secret
skull.
Wars.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean in Secret Wars, the comic. That's gonna be interesting. I wonder if it is Downey Jr.'s Doom when he gets killed by the real Doom or something, you know, and a real Doom comes in.
That's actually what
And
I
that's how they
initially
end
thought.
Doomsday.
That's what I kind of thought they were going to do, but now I kind of would just prefer them to. It would be expensive, and Robert Downey Jr. is getting old, but realistically, they'll do a saga of 10 years. Where I mean, I don't expect to see the Fantastic Four for more than a decade. So you could do Doom and just have Robert play until he's 70. Just
It would
like
be. Yeah,
till
I
he's
mean,
90, and have him
Yep.
pull a
yeah.
r-
I mean, it
Hugh
would
on
be
us.
expensive, but at the same time, if audiences really love him, then
well,
maybe it's
also
worth it.
I would think that Marvel have some sort of plan in place where they're like, all right, you like working with us, we like working with you. You come back, we'll give you a gajillion dollars up front, but for your future appearances, you will not get paid nearly as much.
Especially if
And
it's a lot less screen time. You know, if he's only in a few scenes here and there or something, rather than like the lead of the movie.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. The money Robert Downey Jr. got from this movie or these next two movies is probably enough that he wouldn't have to work again, nor would like his entire bloodline for like centuries. So and I imagine he has no expectations if he was a reasonable person that he will ever get a paycheck like this ever again.
his
No, he's
paycheck
So
for
doing the
these
ultimate
two
payday to the.
yeah,
his paycheck for these two movies could be his paycheck for 3 more Fantastic Four movies too. Like
yeah,
they could
so
literally bring him back and not have to pay him.
well, yeah, well, I don't think that's gonna be the case, but like I said, I think
No.
it's very possible that they were like, "All right, to get you back, we'll pay you this much money, but when you appear further, you'll get paid less." He'll probably still always be the number one paid actor in any movie in the MCU he's in, but I don't think he will get because I mean, the rumored amount he got paid is
Astronomical.
it's a budget of a big budget movie.
Yeah, it's
It's
like the net worth of a
unbelievable.
country.
Like, he could
It's the net
make
worth of Latveria.
yeah, I was about to say, he could make Latveria the Marvel could have bought a country
He
and
could have bought Latveria.
turned it into Latveria
But my
for the
question
amount and probably still had some money left over.
is, do you really want to go from Downey Jr. to someone else who would probably be a downgrade?
And that's going to be hard. Yeah, how do you go from Downey Jr. to anybody else? And
Yeah.
probably that as well in his article about like the inevitable recasting of Tony Stark that'll happen at some point, and it's going to be hard. How do you replace like the perfect casting? But you got to do it. You know, you
Yeah,
just never see Tony Stark again for the entire history of Hollywood because it was done well one time. You know, they're going to have
yeah,
to cast it eventually, and same will happen for Doom.
yeah.
Kieran Culkin.
Yeah,
I
that'd be great.
think Doom. I get people are concerned about that casting, and it obviously is stunt casting, but you can't forget who Robert Downey Jr. is. He's going to probably give an all-timer performance. I wouldn't be surprised if we walked out of Doomsday and were like, that was the best performance he's given in the MCU. And not necessarily the most iconic, because I don't think you can get more iconic than him as Tony Stark, but I
Maybe it
could
will
see
be.
it. I don't think it could be just because there's a lot more history
Mhm.
of him as Tony Stark, whereas this would just be 2 movies. But I'm saying that I think it's very possible he gives his best MCU performance. I mean, he seems, from what we can tell, like it doesn't appear like he's doing it just for a paycheck. I think he likes working with Marvel generally, probably because he's one of the only people who gets genuine creative control outside of Kevin Feige or directors to some degree. But I mean, I think one of his things was at least getting the Russo brothers back, so I think he loves working with the Russo brothers. I think he's really going to give it its all for the he's getting paid too much money, to be clear, way too much money, but I think he's going to give us something crazy. For
I can't wait to
it
see what he brings to it. And like you mentioned, he could come back maybe, but I don't think that's likely. And I think to him, this is
yeah.
like his final run in the MCU is going to be these two movies, and I think he's going to go all out. He's not going to make his final two runs be some kind of gimmick bullshit performance. He's going to really make a good performance out of it. It's just his legacy. He knows if he comes back and it's stupid, like that's going to change how he's looked at and how Tony Stark is looked at. And he knows the weight of this. He knows if he comes back and he's terrible, that's going to hurt his legacy, not just as Doom, but as Tony Stark. So I think he knows that he needs to nail this performance, and I think he's going to.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like even sorry.
I was just gonna say, yeah, and also, I don't think it's completely impossible that Robert Downey Jr. retires after this. I mean, this is going back to the franchise you're most that I mean, it saved his career. I'm sure in some ways it even saved his life, getting a job for Marvel. Um,
I think after these, he'll at least do another Nolan movie before retiring.
Maybe, but I don't think it's a certainty. I would not be surprised. I mean, it's not like he's known for Christopher Nolan movies. He's only done
No, but they had
one,
a
right?
great time working together, and he was going to be in the Odyssey. So I think I could see that as like after Secret Wars, he does one more Nolan, and then that's it.
I mean, it's possible, but I don't think it's impossible that he is like. I mean, this no matter what, he could do a bunch of movies after these movies, but like you said, this is going to be his legacy. These are huge. This is what he's going to be remembered for. Even, I mean, realistically, the number one thing he's going to be remembered for is Marvel. And that's not a bad thing. He can still do incredible performances, award-winning performances, but
I
your
think his
first
performances in like the Marvel movies are like some of them are awards worthy. Like in Endgame, he's pretty fantastic. He's pretty incredible in Endgame.
you had to stop yourself from
I
saying
actually didn't even
fantastic.
realize I was saying that.
But he I mean, he can give great performance, but at this point, I imagine what happened is after Endgame, he was kinda wanting to branch out and wanting to do something different, and then after a little bit of time, he realized that this is what he's gonna be known for. There's no way around it, and I imagine he's embraced that now. I love his posts on Instagram where he's the last couple days where he has comics on the table and he's just singing to his son's music has been super wholesome.
It's
I
gonna be
think
awesome seeing these posts over the next like year,
Oh,
because
yeah.
we have a year between then and now. It's gonna be great to see the build up and
One thing
everything.
I forgot to bring up is one of those comics apparently is where Tony Stark becomes Doctor Doom.
hmm, interesting. I didn't
That's
realize that.
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. But I just wanted to say that, even when they did announce the casting and I was like, this is desperation, this is not good. Even then I didn't think the performance would be bad. Like even then I'm like, no, the performance, I'll probably love the performance. I'll probably say it's Oscar worthy. Just because I don't want it to happen doesn't mean I'm like he's a bad actor. Like the performance will be incredible.
Yeah, I
I
can't
will.
wait to come back and see it and talk with you guys about it. It's hard to
Yeah,
believe it's gonna be over a year, but
yeah,
within a year or so, we'll be back and we'll be seeing
mhm,
Doomsday. Like that's hard to believe.
A year from
yeah,
now, this upcoming weekend, a year from now, we'll be talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day.
and which is crazy because they haven't even started filming. Uh, but the last thing I'll say is maybe that was stunt casting, maybe it is desperation move, but it will never be worse stunt casting. It will never be more desperate than what's going on with Doctor Who, and at least Marvel and Marvel fans can sleep happy and well
At least
knowing
Marvel's not
that.
canceled. You know,
That's true. At least Marvel isn't done with Disney Plus now.
or maybe done forever. We'll see.
Hopefully for at least a decade,
It would
maybe
be a
2.
huge mistake to just give up on the shows and everything.
Oh, yeah, the show I think going to 2 shows a year, making them great.
What I'd like to see, what I'd like to see, honestly, is them do movies, Marvel movies, like not like a ton, but I think that would be interesting to see a straight. I mean, not like actually have production value, but have a streaming release. But I don't know if that will ever happen.
I don't see why you would ever do that. If you're going to invest movie budget, you don't invest it for a streaming platform.
Yeah.
You invest it for a movie.
I could see it
We get some
happening.
specials.
I could see it happening for, like, a Defenders or something like that, because there's no shot at genuine success in theaters for,
Yeah.
movies with those, whereas Disney
Well, maybe
Plus,
Defenders
that
could
could
they
get
could
'em.
just call it a special, but it basically is a movie.
Yeah, I think they should probably just do a limited series again or whatever.
Do you
But
guys
yeah.
have my last thought when we end these is always to go to recommendations that you guys have of either TV shows or movies that are similar or stuff you thought of while you watched this. Whether it's in the case of comic books, we could also recommend, Fantastic Four runs you might want to read, something like that. So I have a short little list here of things that I think are similar. If you guys want to spend some time thinking of anything that captures that retro futurism, anything that captures what you felt while you were watching Fantastic Four.
I mean, I immediately just think of the Jetsons when I see this. I haven't seen it personally, but I feel like is similar to a degree.
Yeah, when you mentioned Doctor Who, I feel like this has a very Doctor Who feel to it with the really quick pacing and the space adventure kind of stuff. So I was thinking about Doctor Who when I watched this. I definitely thought about like 1950s sci-fi stuff like Forbidden Planet, heavily influential here. One that I noticed here that I watched in preparation for this was called Destination Moon. It was a 1950s like hard sci-fi about a team of 4 scientists who got to go to space and they come back changed. And it was interesting because it's like very, very detail oriented about how you would go to space, and it came out in the 50s, a long time before we actually went to space. And I think this movie draw heavily from that movie aesthetically in terms of how it's shot. The rocket ships and the space suits and all that kind of stuff feels like it's right out of Destination Moon. So check that one out. And I also wrote down Starship Troopers. So if you guys want to see, just total schlock, spacey fun that is adventure, but also has a lot of satire, a lot of social commentary, a lot beneath just the adventure. There's actually a lot to say beneath just the schlock. So I love Starship Troopers. And as far as Fantastic Four runs, the only one that I have a lot of experience with that I can recommend is the Mark Waid run from the 2000s. It's very spacey, very kind of cosmic. If you liked that chase sequence, escaping from Galactus, I feel like this run is just like that chase sequence happening like a lot of times. So I really, really thought about that run as I watched this. I had not as experience with the Hickman run, which I think is what they were heavily drawing from in some respects. But that's something I want to read before Secret Wars. So for me, it's the Mark Waid Fantastic Four. And yeah, like I mentioned, all those 50 sci-fi movies, if you want to check out, there is definitely heavily influence from them. Anything you wanted to recommend, Nolan?
I think I'll probably stick with mostly Marvel related stuff. So Loki is one I'd recommend in that same set designer. And I think it has just the same kind of classic feel. Comic wise, I don't love the Jonathan Hickman comic saga, but it's very influential in a lot of places in the MCU. So I'd say not this isn't hit part of his saga, but it's kind of prelude. I'd say Breed Ultimate, Fantastic Four, and then go through all of Jonathan Hickman's saga of Marvel, which is Secret Warriors, Fantastic Four. He did an Ultimate series, Ultimate Hawkeye, and Ultimate Thor, and Reed Shield, and Avengers, and then his Secret Wars. I think going out of this and reading that saga leading into Doomsday and Secret Wars is probably a fair bet for you to feel like you got some comic prep before the end of the Multiverse Saga.
I definitely am going to do that because that's my big goal. Is between we have like a year plus now between this and Secret and Doomsday, so I would really love to fill that time in by reading those comics and filling that stuff. And Nolan will be my shaman guide through the Hickman run. I'm excited for that. Any thoughts from you, Ari? I know you mentioned a couple of recommendations. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
And no, I think that's all.
Yeah, it was a great conversation. We covered our predictions here throughout. And like I mentioned, if you want to see our in-depth breakdown of the actual movie itself, all four of us were on that one. It's posted on the channel right now, so check that one out. I'm not wholly sure what's happening on the channel. I would love to do some housekeeping and set some stuff up, but the schedule is a little bit in flux right now. So make sure you like and subscribe if you like this conversation. We're going to be reviewing all kinds of stuff. It's still a very stacked year. So we're going to be doing reviews. I know we did last summer. It was recently released. Michael reviewed that on here. If you're a slasher fan, check that one out, I guess. Other than that, it was a great conversation with you guys. Thanks so much for coming on. And it was really fun to have everybody. We had a lot of good comments throughout the night. We had, a pretty solid run of views for a second. So it was a great night. And I really, really like this movie. I'm excited to see more of this cast, more of these characters. And a year-long break from the MCU. How am I gonna survive? At least I guess we got TV shows to fill us in. But I'm gonna be hungry when we get to Spider-Man. I'm gonna be hungry.
Yeah.
Do a Walking Dead rewatch.
I'm not that hungry. Not that hungry. But thanks, guys. It was a great time. It's real late right now, so I'm gonna go pass out. But until then, keep it fantastic.
Say that again.